Hello, this is Nana from my back porch. Thank you for joining me today. You are all artists. Good morning. I'm coming to you again from one of my most favorite places, which is on my very own back porch. It's a very sunny day today, a fall day. You can hear the birds around me, and as I always say, you'll probably hear an airplane or a siren or a leaf blower. I hear a leaf blower. But that's all right. We have things to talk about today. And today we're going to be talking about one of my most favorite artists, who is Johannes Vermeer. He was born in 1632 and he died in 1675. Now, he has been considered the greatest artist of the Dutch Golden Age. And he lived in the city of Delft, which is famous for its blue and white china and pottery. It was just wonderful dinnerware that was shipped from Germany to England and France and all over Europe at that time. People were trying to find a cheaper version of the beautiful blue and white china that had been brought all the way from the country of China. So the painters, especially in Delft, were busily painting as much blue and white as they could. So this was a thriving industry, and the people were very interested in their arts. And this is where Vermeer grew up. Now, there are two paintings we're going to talk about today. The first one is called The Geographer. Now, this is important because it goes along with our study of world maps, which we've been really enjoying. I love maps. And I think that Vermeer was so interested in getting the precise instruments that a geographer would have in his studio, or they didn't call him an office. It was where he created his paintings. Now, this model was painted between, they think, 1668 and 1669. And it's very similar to the painting he produced called The Astronomer. It had the same model for each painting and the same mode of dress, which was like a Japanese type loose robe popular among the scholars of that time. In the painting of the geographer, there is a globe painted, which is turned, the globe itself is turned toward the Indian Ocean, which you as a viewer can see. Now, it's turned that way because the Dutch East India Company was active in that area. The shipping and the wonderful things they brought from India back to Europe in trade. there are charts, and the scholar is holding a compass in his hand, as if he's about to measure the distance on a chart. There are nautical maps, such as we try to include on our wonderful maps of the world. But the most important thing about this painting is his wonderful use of light. It is just stunning. When you look at the geographer, you notice that the model himself is a little bit over to the left near the window. They didn't have overhead lighting. They had to use the windows and daylight for their paintings. Although I'm sure that they could set up a lot of candles and try to paint at night. Daytime was the chosen time to paint. The light on the walls, the shadows, and the beautiful colors that Vermeer used on his model's skin. It's just like he could almost turn and smile at you, the viewer, and say hello. I hope that you will take the time to look this painting up, especially since we're having such a wonderful time painting maps, which I'll say again, it's one of my favorite subjects. Now we're going to move on to Vermeer's most famous, I consider, most famous painting. And it's the one that's called The Girl with the Pearl Earring. We do have a lesson on this, and I urge you to do this lesson and listen to this podcast as I tell you about the history of the model and the time. The portrait is now hanging in The Hague, which is a art and government complex. And Vermeer only produced 36 paintings that have survived. We don't know what happened to the others. I'm sure that he painted just like most successful painters did at that time, and he sold them to individuals. But there's only 36 that have survived nearly 400 years. That's an accomplishment in itself. The Girl with a Pearl Earring is very unique, and our lesson is too. In the lesson, I decided myself that we were going to concentrate mainly on the light on the model's face, her garments, and the beautiful scarves that she wore on her head, completely covering her hair. We have no idea what her hair color was, but we do see this beautiful way that she has taken just lovely colored materials, a yellow and a blue, and she's wound them around her head in the fashion of the day, and you just are stunned at the beauty of the yellows. They just shine in the light, and the blue that is almost like a cap on her head. But what really draws your eye, of course, is the earring. And she's turned, looking back at us in surprise, like, "Did you call me? May I help you?" We have no idea. The subject could have been a housemaid in the house of Vermeer named Griet, Griet. We have no last name. And she worked in Vermeer's home and becomes his paint mixer. She would get the powdered paints and would mix them with the oils for him and have the paints ready so when he came in, he would be able to paint. And in a great show of appreciation, he decided that he would paint her. This is a true triumph of art. It is stunningly beautiful because he has so beautifully painted her skin colors and the shadows on her face from the light across the room. We're so pleased that it has survived all these many, many decades. His art, Vermeer's art, disappeared from the world. Really, it just was not seen anymore. It was not popular. People just sort of moved on to the new thing very quickly. And then he died very young, so there wasn't any more for folks to look at. As I say, it disappeared from the art world, and it was not until the 19th century that French artist Edouard Manet found Vermeer's art and became a major influence on bringing these masterpieces back and showing them to people. And then he himself studied Vermeer's ways of painting and capturing ordinary beauty and ordinary ways of dressing. This woman was not a princess or a queen or anyone special. She was young and beautiful, and she wore yellow and blue beautifully. But we always will remember the pearl earring. So I urge you to pick up your pastels and try this lesson out. When you get to the lesson, you will see that my portrait of Griet, who was the model, does not have a face. And I'm sure you're looking at each other saying, "She doesn't have a face?" It's true. Sometimes it's easier to leave the face out and to just paint the contours or the side of the face and the cheekbones and concentrate on the colors that this model was wearing, because that's what you want to see. You don't really need to see her face. To me, it's not that important. The scarves that she wore on her head and that earring has endured for centuries. And we're so pleased that it has. Thank you for joining me today. As you can tell by my voice, I am really, really fond of this painter, and I hope through your study you'll become as fond of him as I am, and to help bring him back to life in your paintings and your study of his lesson. This has been a lovely time together, and I hope you will join me again soon. But first of all, I want you to remember always that you are an artist. Love, Nana. Thank you for listening, artist friends. Please leave a review and share this with a friend. We invite you to join us in the You Are an Artist Clubhouse at chalkpastel.com, where we have over 500, yes, 500 video art lessons. We would also love for you to join us on Instagram, Facebook, and more. And be sure to tag us when you share photos of your artwork. We cannot wait to see.